Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Facebook Live presentation. I'm also sort of recording this for YouTube. I've been having some technical difficulties. Welcome. This is your friend and astrologer, Gretchen Heidel, and I am here live tonight to talk about the eclipse season that we're in right now, and that we just started today on October 25th, 2022. So welcome if you are just joining me live, and if you are watching the pre-recorded version on YouTube, welcome. Please go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And yeah, we are just entering eclipse season in the fall here of 2022. And the reason why it's called eclipse season is because we have two eclipses. There's going to be a set of two eclipses this particular eclipse time frame, a new moon and a full moon. So we had the new moon today, in this eclipse season in the astrological sign of Scorpio, and that was today on October 25th, 2022. So this is the new moon broadcast, and this is a new moon on steroids because it's an eclipse. It's a solar eclipse today. So if you're just joining me live, go ahead and comment below what your astrological sign is. I love to hear from you and where you are viewing from, because I always think that's fun, because we have people from all over the place watching, so that's pretty cool. So we are in eclipse season. So it happened today. The peak of this particular new moon solar eclipse was early this morning at 6:49 a.m. Eastern time. So obviously it was, even earlier than that if you're out on the West Coast, at 3:49 a.m. That would have been on the West Coast. Hello, I'm not sure if you say Jackoy or Jackie. I'm not sure if that's how you say it. Libra in Colorado. Yay, welcome. Melinda, hey, in Vermont. Capricorn with Scorpio rising. That's right. We are going to be talking Scorpio, Taurus, and all the signs in between. So, so please stay tuned, and welcome. Thank you for joining tonight, and go ahead and post your astrological sign. Love hearing from you. So as we get into eclipse season, this is all about transformation, and even more transformation. This is very transformative energy. Now, people love to put the connotation, is this good or is this bad? It just is. That's what it is. It basically just is. Sometimes we have transformation that in the moment it sort of looks bad and ends up being a good thing, or vice versa. And so you never know. I mean, with it's just change, and it's transformative change. Hey, Maggie in New York, she's a Virgo. Rosalie, welcome. Capricorn in Vermont, welcome. Today it was at 2 degrees Scorpio, basically in the very beginning of Scorpio. So if you were born pretty much right now in the sign of Scorpio, you will definitely be feeling this. So if this is your birthday season right now, and if this is the time of year you're born, you are in the heart of this energy. This energy is directly hitting you straight on. If you are Scorpio, even in general, that's going to be affecting you. And if you're a Taurus, what's the opposite of Scorpio? Taurus. So Taurus and Scorpio are going to be feeling this energy. Taurus is today. If you are a Taurus, I haven't seen any Tauruses online yet. Hey, Rita Virgo in Colorado, Liz Aquarius, Super Stellium in the 4th house. Ooh, an Aquarius. That's awesome in Vermont. Welcome. So if you are a Taurus right now and you're experiencing this particular eclipse, it might even feel a little bit like a full moon for you because it is in your opposite sign. And remember, full moons are opposition. The sun and the moon are opposite of each other, where new moons are right on top of each other. That's why it's called the dark moon. The new moons are right on top of each other, sun and moon, same sign, both 2 degrees Scorpio. So we do have some Tauruses joining. Jen is Taurus rising. Amir, welcome. He's a sun in Taurus. Welcome. So basically that is you guys, you Tauruses are going to be feeling this almost possibly like a full moon, like very intense energy, because the solar eclipse was quite powerful. And it doesn't matter if it's a total eclipse or a partial eclipse or whatever. All eclipses are important in astrology. It's a very big time. It's a time of transformation. And actually, what is said is that even up until 6 weeks before eclipses, you can be feeling an eclipse. I think it's a little closer in like more like 3 weeks, but that's my personal opinion. But it really is something that's quite transformative and quite powerful. Now, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, on YouTube, I have a video. If you go to my channel and you go where it says videos and you look down, I have an entire video about the north and the south nodes of the moon in Taurus and in Scorpio. Why is this important when we're talking about eclipses? Because the nodes of the moon denote where the eclipses are going to be taking place over the course of the next 18 months. So the nodes of the moon, it's not only important to know where they're going in your chart, Taurus and Scorpio, and they always move in tandem like that, and they always move retrograde, the nodes of the moon. And so it's always good to know where the nodes of the moon are, because not only because they're currently transiting in that department, but also because for 18 months, whenever there's an eclipse, the eclipses are going to be in those particular areas and departments in our chart. So Taurus and Scorpio, Taurus and Scorpio, Taurus and Scorpio. It's going to be like, I call it scrub-a-dub-dub. It's going to be like really thoroughly washing out and transforming. And oh, here's another layer of transformation. And here's another layer of transformation. And even if you don't have Taurus or Scorpio, sun sign or moon sign or whatever, you still, all of us have Taurus and Scorpio in our chart. So it's good to know what houses, what area, okay, Taurus and Scorpio is currently for you right now. And that will give you a clue as to where your transformative energy. Now, Scorpio is quite powerful. Scorpio is a fixed water sign, okay, fixed as in fixed, okay, so it's a little stubborn, okay, fixed energy is a little stubborn energy, it's basically, it's a water sign. It's all about deep psychological processes, looking under the surface, depth. Think about counseling and spiritual advising and what they used to call in the old days the occult or metaphysical. Like the otherworldly things, what happens to us after we die, and all that stuff, like deep stuff, that's all Scorpio's department. We are in Scorpio season now. The sun and the moon are in Scorpio currently, and we are in Scorpio season. We've officially started Scorpio season on Sunday, October 23rd, and we literally were in it. So this is the time, when you think of Scorpio season, that's what Scorpio season is all about, Halloween, Samhain, All Souls Day, even Veterans Day, all those things about really kind of about death and the afterlife and sort of honoring the dead and honoring our ancestors and honoring those who have come before us. All that stuff is very scorpionic. And so if you're enjoying this, like and share, please, because that helps the algorithm and gets more people to come. If you hit those little heart buttons and the little like buttons, that's what kind of gets the post to go up. And also share with your friends, because you might have a friend that needs this information, because a lot of people around eclipses, a lot of people start going 911, like they start frantically, like, I'm having an emergency, because the energy of it gets very intense. It's just a very intense time frame in life in general during eclipses. So we have another eclipse coming. So after this solar eclipse on today, and I'm going to get back to today's solar eclipse, but we also have another lunar eclipse coming on November 8th. And like I said, that's going to be in Taurus, 16 degrees Taurus. That'll be the full moon's peak of it is going to be at 6:02 a.m. on November 8th, Eastern time. And so you might want to mark your calendar. That's a full moon lunar eclipse. So if you think about a new moon, it's new seeds, new beginnings. So in this area of depth and psychology and the layers and, all the what's beneath the surface and all that kind of stuff, what do you want to harvest in that area of your life? What deeper understanding and meaning does your life need to have? And Scorpio can also be a lot about sort of purging and letting go and releasing. I mean, the key words and the symbolism of besides the scorpion is Scorpio is all about phoenix rising. You know, something burns down before something comes up. It is ruled by Pluto, which just went direct on October 8th. So we have Pluto going full blown direct, and you know that's 100% moving forward now. I mean, like we got we got some power going on behind there. So I mean, Scorpio is all about that depth and looking for what got toxic in your life, and you know maybe what needs to be purged or released and let go. Now, if you've watched my broadcast for a long time, you might say, well, geez, Gretchen, that sounds like a full moon. That is correct, although this is a new moon. So, what do we need to let go to let something new into our lives? What do we need to release to have something new in our life? It is very much, like a full moon in that way where we're releasing something, but we're hopefully gaining something too. You know, if you think of Phoenix rising, something goes down and then something comes back up. We have Hans, Juliet, welcome, Patty, Scorpio. Okay, we got some Taurus Scorpios joining the broadcast even tonight while we're watching. But remember, everybody's got Taurus and everybody's got Scorpio department. Even if those houses are empty in your astrological chart, they still are meaning something. I'll use even myself as an example just to show you, like I'm Leo rising. So if you guys are Leo rising, you might have a similar thing where I have Scorpio on my fourth house of home and family. And so home and family, that's lighting up under, my astrological. And that's also where the nodes of the moon are moving through, Taurus and Scorpio lunar nodes are moving through that as well. So if you guys check it out on YouTube, I have a whole longer video about the nodes of the moon. I'm not going to cover that in this broadcast tonight, but go to my channel on YouTube and you will definitely see it under the video department. So if you're feeling a little intense, if you're feeling a little like, oh, what's the meaning, existential crisis, what's happening, like, is this it? Is this all there is to life? I come home and make dinner for my kids, or whatever it is. That is that scorpionic energy pushing us to get assigned meanings to things and all that stuff. Now, sometimes we don't need to do that. Sometimes we don't need to assign a meaning to something. Sometimes things are just the way it is, and it's a little difficult because we can't always fully thoroughly understand it because there's a little bit of mystery and magic to life. And that's part of Scorpio too, the mystery of things. So when you think about Scorpio and you think about the depth and you think about analysis and you think about it's like, I always say Scorpios are really good detectives and the researchers and good at puzzles and figuring things out, right? It's like what makes it tick. But, obviously that can get toxic if you're talking about trying to see who looks at somebody's Instagram and doing a little online research on your partner. I mean, that can be a little toxic, so you want to avoid that type of thing. Scorpio is known for being quite jealous and a little possessive and things like that. And we have Venus in Scorpio too. That was the other thing that happened over this past weekend. If any of you saw my my astro tidbits, my little post that I do, on the 23rd, on the same day as the sun, Venus moved into Scorpio. So how we love over this next month has a scorpionic lens to it. We're seeing things through the eyes of Scorpio, which can be a little bit more possessive and a little deeper. We're looking for deep and sexy and sultry and a little bit consuming, like I want to possess you and I want to have you, and so again, that's fine as long as it's definitely deep and intense and fun. But if it gets out of line, if it goes a little too far, then that's toxic. That's not good energy to sort of because we don't own anybody. There's no ownership here. And so there's that. So we don't want to be owned and we don't want to own, it's like we each and every one of us are autonomous and have our own deal. So I hope that helps with the new moon. So you want to plant seeds, okay, if you're doing any kind of ritual, if you're doing any kind of manifesting or anything like that, you want to plant seeds for the new moon. And how do you do that? you write out a list, okay, of all the things that you want, okay, on your, I always write it as if it's coming and already. Like, so it's almost like for me, when I write out my new moon manifestation list, I write it like a thank you letter to my angels and my spirit guides, like, thank you for sending me whatever it is that you want, a new car or a new relationship or whatever thing you're trying to manifest and work on, new job, a raise, a promotion, a baby, or whatever thing you want to be able to write it on there. Thank you for sending me this. Thank you for sending me good health and abundance. Because remember, between the new moon and the full moon is about receiving, and it's about building in light. So, right, if you think about the new moon right now, it's dark outside, it's super dark. And as we go towards the full moon, the moon gets fuller and fuller and brighter and brighter. So, whatever you want to grow and manifest and bring into your life, that's what you want to put onto the new moon list. One time I met this person at a conference where I was doing a talk about astrology and teaching. And I said this about the new moon, the full moon, and she said, "Oh my gosh, all this time I've been trying to manifest something new on the full moon and I haven't gotten any of it, like nothing has come of it. It's always been like a dud." And she was like, I was ready to give up and not do it anymore. And I said, no, you're just doing it in reverse. The full moon is about letting go and releasing and getting rid of. The new moon is about welcoming into our life. Although, remember, this particular new moon is a little confusing because it's about also releasing things. Scorpio always has that lens to it about releasing. I always say Scorpio is just wonderful for reinventing, yourself. And Demi Moore is a Scorpio. There's a lot of Scorpios out there that are very good at like sort of reinventing. Leonardo DiCaprio, he's an 11/11 Scorpio. So a lot of people out there, famous people, even formerly known as Prince Charles, now King Charles, he's a Scorpio. There's a lot of Scorpios. Joe Biden is a Scorpio. So they're all facing, even Joe Biden has been facing a lot of, transformation. Definitely King Charles for sure has a major transformation going on at this time in his life, right? If you think about, what he's facing in his new position, taking over for the queen and all that. So anyway, so I hope that helps. You want to grow something new and bring something new. Now, what does it mean with the eclipse? So if you think about eclipses, right, the sun and the moon formed a conjunction today. So the new moon basically kind of reset, okay? Or it's like rebooting a computer, I always say, with eclipses. Now, let's say something was going a little wonky with the computer, right? And you kind of, what do we all do, right? We turn it off and turn it back on, reboot the computer, right? Well, sometimes it doesn't come back on again. Most of the time it does, okay? And every once in a while you get the blue screen of death and the computer is done. That's how these eclipses are. So eclipses are, we're rebooting the computer just for a moment, okay? And something in our life is needing to be rebooted. And so that's something to sort of take in mind. So eclipses always are just a little bit more stressful. They just are, than regular normal new moons or regular normal full moons. They always have, it's like full moon extra, new moon extra, and it really ramps up the energy and makes it extra. So basically we are rebooting something in our Scorpio department. Again, 2 degrees Scorpio, so in the very beginning of Scorpio. And that's something that we want to keep in mind too. So pay very close attention to what's happening for you this week and last week and next week, and even until the next eclipse, because this actually will start a brand new, whole new 6-month cycle. That some astrologers even feel that it even lasts longer than that. These eclipses that take place can really form our lives and change our lives. Again, is it good or bad? I don't know. It depends on what's going on with your life, and what you need rebooting and what you need, that's part of where, we can't do this like a general overview, if it's good or bad, because everybody's different. If you're going into this eclipse and everything's fine and dandy and everything's thumbs up, you'll be fine. You know, everything will be okay. But if you go into an eclipse and there's an area that needs some work, needs a little tweaking, needs a little, you know, sort of thing, you know, that's a thing. I'll tell you again from my life as an example. I, you know, have my Scorpio is my fourth house of home and family. And I just told you the nodes of the moon are going through there. Well, I've been fixing up some things with my home, and I had my roof replaced, and the roofer actually was up there and partially fell through last week in my house. I'm laughing because he's okay. Everything's fine. But yeah, we're rebooting that computer. We're rebooting the roof. So, talk about needing a reboot, right? There was this little tiny area that it didn't look like anything, and nobody knew it was like getting to be like a problem, I guess. So yeah. So if you think about rebooting a computer or turning something on or off, that's basically kind of how this works. And yeah, I got a new roof and everything's fine and it all worked out. But so that's an example. It's in my fourth house home, literally real estate and home, and then family. So yeah, so that's just an example of something that can happen during eclipse time. You know, it's just like it's par for the course. It's okay. You know, I was thankful that everybody was safe and it was fine. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. And if anybody has any questions about that, please post below. But this week is going to be interesting and quite astrologically busy because we have, like I said, on Sunday, we had the Sun and Venus went into Scorpio. So we have a lot of Scorpionic energy right now. There's a lot of energy beneath the surface, under the radar. You know, it's think submarines, think oil, think nuclear, think anything that's kind of going on beneath the surface. Unfortunately, terrorism is part of that as well. It has a dark, you know, there's dark. Scorpio is a little bit darker. And then we have on Sunday, also last Sunday, the 23rd of October, Saturn went direct. That's Aquarius. That's a different energy. It's no longer retrograde. Yay! And so we have Saturn direct. The planets, last time I broadcasted, the planets had we had 9 planets that were retrograde. And they're slowly starting to go direct. So we had Mercury went direct on October 2nd. We had Pluto going direct on October 8th, and then we just had Saturn go direct on October 23rd. So we're starting to move these planets along, are starting to go direct, and that's a good news and a good thing. So when we go up, I'll probably do a different broadcast about it, but when we approach the full moon, if you are, again, a Taurus or Scorpio, or if you're a fixed sign, Taurus, Scorpio, and Leo and Aquarius, those are all the fixed signs, you will feel this most. This particular new moon would activate all the other water signs too. Pisces and Cancer are going to be affected by that water energy, and that'll be also like, you know, I've noticed a couple of my water signs called recently, and they were all like anxious and like kind of just feeling a little bit on edge. And that's why because this new moon is very fully packed and has a lot of downloads and energies. The other thing with Pisces I should mention is that on Friday, October 28th coming up, we have a thing where Jupiter is going to be going back into Pisces, returning to Pisces. Now, if you're thinking, what do you mean returning to Pisces? It's been in Aries all this time. Jupiter has been in Aries all this time since May 11th, I believe, to now. Jupiter's been in Aries. So now we're returning to, actually, at the very last 2 days of 2021, all the way until May 11th of 2022, Jupiter was in Pisces, and we're having a final pop quiz of Jupiter in Pisces, which we might feel disconnected from this pop quiz because it's been months since we've had Jupiter in Pisces. So we might even be forgetting, like, what was that time frame like? So whenever I mention these time frames, it's not to confuse you. It's to have you thinking, what happened during that time in my life, in my chart, what was going on when Jupiter was in Pisces. Jupiter is good luck, good fortune, optimism, expansion, an area of your life where it might be getting bigger. Jupiter in Pisces can be good things. So when we look at these more trials and tribulation type things and the little bit of a darker energy, when we look to Jupiter, it's actually a lighter energy and a little bit of a happier energy, an expansion and a growth and where we're expanding. So we are returning back to that for what I call, you guys will know in astrology, I have these little nicknames for things. I call it the final pop quiz, where we're having one last return and then it will leave for the next 12 years. So it's not going to be in Pisces again for 12 years. So when does that start? It starts on October 28th, on this Friday at 1:10 a.m. Eastern time. So actually it'll be on the 27th for all of you out there on the West Coast. And so it'll be in Pisces. It's still retrograde. Jupiter's retrograde and will continue to be retrograde. It's going to end its retrograde. It'll turn direct on November 23rd, which is also going to be on the new moon. It's not going to be a solar eclipse next month. It'll just be like the day before Thanksgiving, if you want to remember. Jupiter will turn direct. It'll end its retrograde time. And then, I'm sorry, I'm making noise here with my calendar, which I'm looking at right now. Jupiter will go back into Aries again on December 20th. So it's only going to be in Pisces from this Friday, 28th, until the 20th in December. So we're only going to have just a little, like barely 2 months of Jupiter being in Pisces again. And what's Pisces? What is that about? I mean, it's really about our intuition. It's about listening to our feelings and emotions and processing our feelings. Not quite in the same way as Scorpio, but they are water signs. Pisces and Scorpio are water signs, what I was describing with the new moon. But this Pisces expansion, where we're expanding it is in the area of intuition. It's in our area of, like, sort of what you would call higher consciousness or God consciousness. I always think like it's like the crown chakra, like having that a lot of empathy or sympathy. All that type of stuff is very Piscean. Sometimes we will get a little depressed or blue with Pisces just because we're thinking of our feelings, and sometimes those feelings can be a little bit sad or blue. So I always talk about lepidolite stone for also amethyst, if you have amethyst as well. But lepidolite is my go-to for like a depression or a blue feeling. If you have that when you're in your Pisces. Pisces is a little bit needs a lot more of a reboot. Pisces tends to be a little bit more introverted and a little bit more needing more alone time. Even if it's not truly introverted, Pisces needs a lot of time to sort of regroup and recharge. If you think of Pisces, the ruler of Pisces rules the 12th house in an astrological chart, and that's the area in the chart that I have nicknamed the area of rest, restore, rejuvenate, reboot. It's the area you go to pray. It's the area you go to meditate. It's the area you go on a sabbatical or you hermit for a little bit. That's Pisces area. So sometimes and it's kind of going to be weird a little bit because it's happening during the holiday season, Jupiter's in Pisces, but really, if you think about Pisces also is connection to creative as well. Think art, think music, think poetry and sonnets and all kinds of things. By the way, if you guys are enjoying this broadcast, please go ahead and like and share, because it gets it up on the algorithm and that helps. Plus, a lot of people really need this energy right now because I feel like a lot of people need more hope, because there's been some really tough energies. So when we think of Jupiter and Pisces, we think expansion and getting bigger. And yes, it can be involving our thoughts and feelings and emotions. I meant to also say this when I was talking about the Scorpionic new moon. But this is a wonderful stone that we have, that I have in my personal stone kit. You guys may or may not have this, but basically this is called healer's gold, okay? And it has like a little bit of a gold tint to it, if you can sort of see with the camera. But this one is very, if you guys are dealing with any of this dark side or shadow side or feeling, the feelings, Healer's Gold, I think, is a really wonderful, another one to help process these emotions and to meditate with and to pray with. I find it to be very grounding and very, it does resonate because it's like, if you can notice, it's like almost black, but then it has this gold sort of pyrite sort of looking stuff in it. I think it resonates to two chakras. It resonates to the root chakra. If you think about safety, feeling grounded, all that's the root chakra with the black. And then it has the gold, which is the solar plexus, or what I call the belly button chakra, which is all about confidence and feeling good about yourself. And if you need a little pick me up, because some of this energy is a little on the darker side or feeling just, I shouldn't even say, it's like heavy. It's like heavier energy. Healer's Gold is a beautiful stone to sort of have in your collection. But if you don't have that, amethyst is good. Like I said, lepidolite is also good. When I think of Scorpio, I definitely think of bloodstone. I have a bloodstone around here and I couldn't find it before the broadcast. I was gonna talk about bloodstone. Let's see. Melinda said, with all these planets going direct, does that bode well for Ukraine? So I'll just answer this very quickly. I won't spend too long on this, but with Ukraine, sorry, my dog is feeling needy. I think he's feeling the new moon too. A lot of animals feel these things too. I should say that, animals and children. But yes, so with the Ukraine is actually going through its Saturn return. Saturn return in an astrological chart is a real hard time. A lot of people have problems in their Saturn return. Just so everybody knows that Saturn return happens universally for people when they're 29, 59, and I always say if you're lucky when you're 89. So, and it's a period of time. It's not just 1 year. It's usually like you start feeling it depending on what the layout is of your chart, like 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, like it's like a period of time. People would say, oh, it's just 2 years, but I've seen it last as a longer bubble, sometimes 2 or 3 years. And so that is our Saturn return, in our charts. And if any of you watching the broadcast now have ever gone through your first or your second Saturn return, then a lot of people don't watch my broadcasts that are 89, but that's okay. But yeah, so if you're in your second or third Saturn return, you'll know, or if you've ever experienced it, or if you think back to that time in your life, you'll go, oh, that was really kind of rough. Saturn return is a long thing. So I would love to say that Ukraine is going to be great and fine. I actually do think that the Ukraine is going to be great and fine in the long run. And when I say great and fine, I mean it's going to have to be rebuilt completely. But I actually think that it's going to stay the Ukraine and not be part of Russia. Okay. So hopefully that'll answer your question. But it's devastated. I mean, the area is devastated. When you think of Saturn return, that's setting us up for the next 30-year cycle. So the Ukraine, it's not a person, it's a place, is being set up for the next 30-year cycle. But I mean, it'll take longer than probably even that to rebuild everything. I mean, because a lot of things were so devastated. So I hope that helps answer that. Hey, Debbie. Hey, Darlene. Thank you. Darlene said I look beautiful. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So yeah, so if any of you have any other questions, let me know. And then I'm going to briefly touch on this. Maybe I'll do another separate video about it because there's so much to talk about this week. So we had all that other stuff happening. Now we do have another lens of Scorpio happening on Saturday, the 29th, where Mercury is going to be moving into Scorpio. Mercury is still currently in Libra, but Mercury is going to move into Scorpio at 3:22 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. And so what happens is now we have a pile up in Scorpio. We have all these scorpionic lenses, and that just means we're going to be deep in the heart of Scorpio season, and even more intensity and more of the lens of analysis and looking at our feelings and all that is going to happen. Mercury is how we think and talk and communicate. So Now we're thinking and talking and communicating like Scorpios and thinking like Scorpios. That's where our thoughts are going to be headed towards. Now, the big news and the thing that I actually kind of want to maybe even do a separate video about if I have time this week, because I am getting a lot of 911 emergency calls, please fit me in, Gretchen, type calls for readings and private sessions. But the big thing is we have another planet going retrograde. No, I just said we were going out. We're getting out of the retrogrades, but we do have one planet going into the retrograde, and that's Mars retrograde is going to be starting on Sunday, on the 30th, October 30th, 2022. And so it's Mars retrograde. Mars retrograde. Mars retrograde. So if you are an Aries or a Scorpio, I keep saying Scorpio in this broadcast, you're going to be feeling you'll be in the heart of that. Or if you have planets in Gemini or Sagittarius, and that's going to be happening. So planets are sort of divided into sort of two categories. The personal planets, meaning the ones that are closest to Earth, they're called the personal planets. And then there's the outer planets, the ones that are further away from Earth. Mars, unfortunately, is considered to be one of the personal planets. And the more personal planet or closest to Earth that it is, the more we feel it strongly on our planet. And Mars is the god of war. Mars currently is in Gemini and will continue to be in Gemini. Now, normally, Mars is in Gemini every 1.5 months, 1.5 months, 1.5 months. Well, Mars is going to be in Gemini total for 7 months. So Mars has been in Gemini for a while now, and Mars will continue to be in Gemini all the way until March 25th of 2023, next year. So we have a long journey with the Mars retrograde. Mars is going to be retrograde until January 12th. Oh, this is a long retrograde, everybody. Hang in there. It's a couple months. For a personal, it's like the furthest out of the personal planets. So it's a little bit like Mercury's retrograde just for 3 weeks. But Mars is retrograde several months. So we have Mars retrograde starting, and so that's going to be a thing. Wherever Gemini is where the Mars energy is. Think energy. When Mars is the god of war, yes, Mars can be feisty. I mean, we'll just say feisty, and it can be, quite whatever. I mean, on when it was January 6th on the Capitol, that was Mars transit that day. That was, that's feisty energy. But it doesn't have to be war or warlike. It's just feisty. So when you think of Mars, think energy. I always say it's like the gas in the, the gas pedal in a car or the engine of the car. It like gets us moving. It's motivating. So when it's retrograde, it's not as motivating. It's like a little bit like, wah, wah, It can be a little bit like Mars is like pulled over in the car and taking a break. I guess that's kind of like how you would want to do it. So when you think of Mars energy, that's very feisty. Now Mars is associated with red. In Gemini, it's I would always say using the blue because Gemini is all about communication, but Mars is definitely the red planet. I have a carnelian here, and if you want a little extra zoom and a little extra pep in your step, and that's a little wonky too, because if you think about the holiday season, usually you got to have even more sort of gas in the gas tank and more energy, and like you have to wrap presents and do whatever your holiday tradition is and run around, and I gotta get food and gifts, and I gotta make meals and entertain, especially during Sagittarius season. Scorpio season is all about remembering and honoring those who passed and who are in spirit and all that. And then you get into Sagittarius season and we're ready to party. It's like, think about Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas. That's all getting it. Even though technically Christmas is in Capricorn season, we do all the preparation and all the holiday parties and all the everything. So by the time we get to Christmas, it's like, oh my God, okay, I'm done, you know. So that's basically the holiday season is considered to be Sagittarius season. So yeah, so all of this energy is acting up, you know, and it's a lot within 1 week. I mean, you think about all the things that I just said. So if any of you, I'm going to pull one card, a collective card for what do we need to know about this week in general, a card for the collective, and just ask the angels and our spirit guides. But if any of you have any questions, I can answer one or two tonight while I'm on the broadcast if you guys want, and I'm going to pull a card at the end. But yeah, this is a lot of energy. In this last week or so. On the 23rd, like I said, just to quickly recap while people are typing, we have the Sun and Venus went into Scorpio, officially starting Scorpio season. Saturn turned direct. He's no longer retrograde, so yay, in Aquarius, yay. So we're going to finish out, Saturn's going to finish out its time in Aquarius until March of 2023, and then it'll go into Pisces. So we have just a little while in Aquarius left with Saturn in Aquarius. And then we have the new moon solar eclipse today on Tuesday the 25th. And then on Friday we have Jupiter moving into Pisces for the final pop quiz in the Pisces department. We have Saturday, we have Mercury moving into Scorpio, and then on Sunday we have Mars turning retrograde in Gemini. So this is a lot of energy. Please be kind to yourself. Please be patient with yourself. Please be patient with your kiddos and your family and your grandkids and your pets and all that, because even animals, I really have to say, animals are also affected, okay? Animals are also affected by all of this planetary energy, and they get hyper and they get a little naughty and they won't listen as well. Just like the rest of us feel on the inside, they reflect how we feel. So it's a big, important thing. Jen, so you said, how is the eclipse going to affect Sagittarius? It depends on where Sagittarius is in your astrological chart, and that is very unique to you, Jen. I don't have a way of doing a personalized chart for each and every person that's on the broadcast, but I will say Sagittarius and Scorpio are neighbors, so you know, there's a little bit of energy there. Really, what do we need to release? What is toxic in our life? What got out of balance and we need to reel in? That is all this Scorpionic, and what do we really need to do where we look beneath the surface? Again, Jen, I'm not picking on you. I don't know your personal chart or whatever, but Sagittarius tend to sort of, it's half man, half horse. So you guys tend to run here and run there and whatever. Sometimes you have to stop and really look deeper at something. And that's what Scorpio is asking all of us to do. Stop and look deeper at our lives and all of that. So I hope that helps. Oh, thank you so much, April. April just, I can't see. I'm trying to expand the broadcast here. I don't have a specific question. I'm amazed by all of your intuitive understandings of our planetary energy. And she said, thank you. Thank you, April, so much. I hope that helps. But yeah, Jen, I hope that helps. You just have to, you know, stop your horse from running with that Sagittarius and really look deeper at something. That's what we're being all called to do, is to look more deeply at something. And I can't state that enough. And it depends on where in your own astrological chart that Scorpio falls in. I don't have a way of knowing that. But, so I'm going to do a very quick, okay, you guys know I love using my Archangel Gabriel by Doreen Virtue. Unfortunately, it's out of print, but I do love this as one of my favorite decks because Gabriel, out of all of the angels, is the messenger of God. That's what Gabriel's name is. I feel that his messages, or her messages, they, them situation with archangels, they give us these messages, and I feel that it's wonderful. So yeah, so I'm going to pull this card for the collective. So in this time of transition and resetting the computer and the new moon eclipse and all this stuff, what do we need to know? What do we need to know? And we have a prayer request that just came in on the broadcast, so I'm going to say that after I pull this card. What do we need to know about this new moon energy? And if you hear breathing in the background and you think it's creepy, it's my pug. Okay, he's an old old puggy, and for some reason he's just he snores and he grunts and he does all that stuff. So if you're hearing that, that's what that is. So anyway, so what do we need to know about the new moon in solar eclipse? Oh, well, this is perfect. Perfect answer. Perfect. I don't know if you guys can see that. Law of attraction. Law of attraction. I'm going to read the card. But if you can see that they're all kind of like hanging out there. Sort of what do I want? And especially for the new moon. This is what I was just talking about for the new moon. If you guys are on Facebook right now, Rosalie posted a prayer request, and I'm going to talk about it live. But go ahead and comment below that we're going to send her daughter some prayers. Law of attraction card. What do we need to know on this new moon? Law of attraction. Keep your thoughts positive. Surround yourself with positive people and situations, and you will attract more positivity in your life. Remember, even the last broadcast I was talking about, like watching the news excessively and seeing all the death and destruction and all this, like stock market and different things that are happening right now in the world. And it's really quite hard to stay positive, but we're being asked to, that there's a lot of light and dark kind of battles going on right now, it seems. Keep it positive. And you will expect positive things. You will get positive things. And even if it's not immediate, trust me, it accumulates. You will get more will come. Law of attraction is very literal. Whatever we put in the computer is what we get. It's like I always say, if you really want a 5-star restaurant, you don't type in the computer McDonald's or Subway, that's not what you put in the computer and then fingers crossed, maybe I'll get a 5-star restaurant. No, you put in the literal computer what you want. And that's what law of attraction is about. So if you want something, you got to put that in the computer. You got to really be specific. So when we're talking about the new moon manifestation lists, we're talking about law of attraction. We're talking about getting what you want. Put it in and you will attract it back. So Rosalie, her daughter had a complication during a C-section, and she's been in a lot of pain since then. And so, we want to give her lots of, it's Rosalie's daughter. We want to send her lots of, so if you're watching on the live on the broadcast now, or even if you're not sure what to do, if you're not a Reiki person or something, you can just think positively. Think Rosalie in Vermont and her daughter in Vermont, and she had the C-section, and we will send her lots of good vibes. I do feel very much that prayer chains and mass prayer, it's all that good, wonderful energy that we send. That helps. It all helps. It all helps to raise the vibration and all that. So, oh no, Melinda. Oh yes. Okay, so we have another prayer request, and then I'm gonna get skedaddling because I'm gonna eat some dinner. But Melinda, also in Vermont, her 92-year-old aunt came down with COVID, and she's asking for prayers. So we will send Melinda's aunt some prayers and some good vibes, good, wonderful things, and ask for Archangel Raphael is a wonderful healer, and person that can help, entity that can help from the other side. Archangel Raphael is the healer. His light is green. And so that's wonderful healing, beautiful energy to help her clear any of the viral load that she has. Just have it look at, it's just dissipating and leaving her body. So, and Rosalie said, thank you for praying for Lydia, her daughter, to no longer be in pain and to be fully recovered from this complication with the C-section. Okay, everybody. Well, happy new moon to you all. Please use law of attraction. Okay, remember our thoughts, great things, and we want to keep it positive, and we want to grow and learn and explore and expand our subconscious and not be too hard on ourselves when we're looking beneath the surface and looking at things in our lives and being overly critical. We just want to observe and just look at it and bless our lives that we have. I think it's so good to always remember to be thankful for the things that we have, because there are for sure people out there that don't have things, and that are struggling. So I think it's always good to just, remember that we have, whatever it is, food, water, air, all that good stuff. So, all right, everybody, lots of love to you. Sending out lots of good prayers, positive energy to you all. If you're watching this broadcast, I'm sending you some good vibes. And yes, be well, everybody. Namaste, and have a wonderful evening.